So I've been using the S20 Ultra to record my YouTube videos for the last year. How does the S21 compare to this beast of a phone? What's going on, guys? My name's David Tomic and welcome back to the channel. Today we're comparing the S20 Ultra against the S21 Ultra. It is Samsung's latest and greatest flagship that is putting the S20 Ultra's title of greatest smartphone, greatest camera ever on a smartphone at great jeopardy. Straight off the bat, it's a little sad that the S21 Ultra comes out at 150 Australian dollars cheaper than the original S20 Ultra did. That means the S21 comes out at 1,849 Australian dollars versus the 199 Australian dollars that the S20 is still priced at here right now in 2021. If you have an educational email or a business email or a government email here in Australia, you can access that version of Samsung's store. So for example, the educational Samsung store gives you about 25% off, as does the government, as does the business. The S20 Ultra was able to be picked up from that store for $1,559, whilst the S21 Ultra on that store is available for $1,449 with the $50 discount that Samsung offers you for just visiting their website. Now, the one thing you might notice while comparing the price tag is the fact that the S21 Ultra offers a great variety of storage models. Usually this isn't a big deal with Samsung because you have the ability to put an SD card in. I know, for example, with the S20 Ultra, you can put 1 terabyte of SD storage straight into the S20 Ultra, whilst the S21 Ultra has removed this entirely, so 128 gigs as the baseline model probably isn't enough. In my personal experience, as a YouTuber, you're gonna need a little bit more, so moving up to 256 gigs, which means a price tag of about $1,559 on the educational store, or just under $2,000 from the stores itself. Now, as we're focusing on the videography elements of these two smartphones, it is critical that we focus on the cons of the S20 and the pros of the S21. The S20 had so many autofocus issues at the very start, and it was terrible. You constantly had to adjust and make sure something was in focus before you were able to record. I knew I recorded heaps of videos that were out of focus, blurry. I had to scrap them and re-record them. After a few months, however, and ever since, thankfully, the S20 Ultra has had software updates to improve that autofocus. Touch wood, we haven't had any issues with the S20 Ultra since. The S21 Ultra comes with a laser focus detector, very similar to that of the Note 20 Ultra experience. So having laser autofocus means there is an actual physical distance measuring device which is able to interpret that focus a lot better than the previous software reiteration that was on the S20. So straight away, that is a huge difference in these two devices, which gives the S21 Ultra the upper hand. Both devices really promoted that 8K video and the 8K recording capabilities. Now, I only use the 4K video recording for a very specific reason. 8K recording on the S20 Ultra and the S21 Ultra uses approximately 600 megabytes per 1 minute of footage. Now, I've written these stats down just so I don't get them wrong, and I want to make sure I get them right. If you were to buy the 128 gigabyte model with no SD card storage solutions, you would have somewhat of a problem if you wanted to record on 8K only. So let's use this phone as an example of everything I have. Currently, it is 128 gigabytes of storage. I have 92 gigabytes of storage used for apps, downloads, photos, videos, and of course 20 gigabytes just to run the software. If you're gonna do the maths of 600 megabytes per minute, that equates to 36 gigabytes per hour, which means I can only use 1 hour of 8K video recording. Now, if you're a YouTuber looking to create lots and lots of content, 1 hour is nowhere near enough. You're definitely gonna need some more storage. So the S21 Ultra basically means that if you buy the 128 gigabyte model, 1 hour of recording and that's it. Your phone is full. You can basically dump that footage onto a computer, take it off, start again. Yes, you can probably get rid of a few apps and give that a bit more storage, but in actual reality, if you were to use your phone unrestricted, you'd probably only get about an hour of recording. Now, if you were to put that 1 terabyte SD card into the S20 Ultra, which you can do on the S20 and you can't do on the S21, you would get an additional 27.7 hours of 8K recording. There's probably no chance that you're gonna go a whole day of recording without being close to a laptop to dump that footage if you need to. So being able to have almost 30 hours of recordable space on your device and still use your device to its full capabilities is phenomenal. Now, if we backtrack and only look at the 4K video capabilities at 30 frames a second, 30 frames a second, 4K takes up 280 megabytes of storage per 1 minute, which equates to 16.8 gigabytes per hour. If again, we use the same calculations, 92 gigs of space used through data, downloads, etc., 128 gigabyte model, that gives you 2 hours of 4K video recording. Alternatively, if you move up to the 256 gigabyte model, that gives you an extra 7.6 hours of recording, whereas if you had the extra terabyte of SD card storage, you'd get 60 hours of 4K video recording. So if video recording is very important to you and storage is very important to you, you're either going to have to pay that premium price tag for the 512 gigabyte model of the S21 Ultra, or stick with the S20 Ultra for the simple fact that you have that expandable storage. And if all else fails with the S20 Ultra, you can simply pop out that SD card, put a new SD card in, and keep recording. You basically have no limit. Your only limit is the battery life itself. Which brings us to another pretty critical and important point. The S21 Ultra might seem like the brand new superior phone, but it has a few drawbacks. So the S20 Ultra in 30 minutes has the ability to charge to 62% thanks to a 45 watt charging capabilities. Whilst the S21 Ultra is limited to 25 watts of fast charging, and it can only fulfill 50% of its battery life within the first 30 minutes. Speaking of charge times, it's no good having a good charger or a fast charging capability if they don't actually include it in the box. So that price tag before of $1,849, I think it was, is actually a bit of a lie, because you need to go out and buy that additional charger if you don't already have one. Now, as a YouTuber, you might also be using a gimbal quite often. If you take the DJI OM4, for example, which is my gimbal of choice, it has a maximum payload of 230 grams for the smartphone itself. The S20 Ultra comes in at 220 grams, whilst the S21 Ultra comes in at 229 grams. So you're definitely putting the gimbal at maximum payload capacity, but it is still able to be used on a gimbal right now. There are some additional perks of the S21, and it's the simple fact that the screen resolution can now be used at its best, whereas the S20 is limited and we still don't have that ability to do so. The S21 has all the director's modes, as well as a vlogger mode where you can record both rear and front camera simultaneously. It also has the S Pen support, which could or could not be beneficial to YouTubers. I think as a general rule of thumb, it's probably a nice little feature to have, but it's not necessary. And it is cheaper. There has been no price drop as of recording this video for the S20 Ultra compared to the S21 Ultra. So if you were to go out in store and pick up either one of these two devices, the S20 would still be more expensive. So overall, what's my opinion? Well, personally, I believe if you already have an S20 Ultra, keep it for a couple more months till some better deals come out on the S21. There is a number of deals that always come out on Samsung products, especially when the device has been out for a little bit, and all those promotions go away for pre-ordering. If you're a YouTuber looking to do lots of studio setup videos and things where you have controlled lighting and a controlled environment, I believe the S20 is phenomenal. However, if you are a vlogger that's going to go outside, constantly change camera angles, constantly be moving, I think that laser autofocus is almost a must, and it is definitely the platform and the device of choice. Anyway, that's all for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you smash that subscribe button down below, and as always, I will see you next Monday.